Hi everyone, and thank you for joining me tonight on this special 3D live stream where we're going to chat a bit about 2D to 3D conversion, and we're going to have a look at some examples. We're going to see ways we could kind of talk about 3D conversions as opposed to stuff that's been natively shot or I guess prepared for 3D. We're kind of talking about stuff that maybe wasn't originally planned for 3D and has been converted. Going to chat a bit about the technology behind it, and show you some examples. I think most of tonight's content is kind of got a 3D conversion angle to it. Tonight I'm joined by some assistants. I have Cheryl, who is my bodyguard, so if you say anything annoying in the chat, she may just pop out and peck you in the screen. So please be careful that you don't upset her, because she gets very, very tense. And also, if things get kind of out of hand, well, we should have a solution to that, because we have a spare hand. And, whenever you're doing a 3D live stream, I find one of these comes in very, very handy. Sorry, these are the cheesiest jokes. I don't know why I'm doing this. Anyway, this is about entertainment. This isn't, I should actually say I'm not doing, this isn't like a serious tutorial. We're going to chat about stuff and how it's done. But yeah, this is really for entertainment. So, first off, let's have a look at a piece that this guy I know has done, talking about how you might look at 3D conversions and kind of the different levels and how you might rate them, and maybe kind of see if we could develop a kind of common language for when we communicate about 3D conversions, when we say what's wrong with them, as opposed to just saying, oh, it's rubbish, or oh, I didn't like it. We could maybe give some kind of scoring, so we could kind of work out where it is. Quite often I've actually been surprised. People think a conversion is particularly poor, but actually it might just be quite mild, and it may just also be that their experience of it just isn't the best for maybe projected badly, or it might just be that it's milder than they would prefer. Anyway, so I've got this guy has recorded this stuff. Hopefully he's all right. I don't know if he's the best presenter in the world, but you see what you think. Roll VT. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today was having this structured approach to criticizing 3D conversions. Very much at the moment on Facebook and such like, you'll see people saying, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. And often you don't really know quite what is wrong with it. So I thought what was a good idea, possibly, don't shoot me down, what might be a good idea is actually to have this kind of system between 1 and 5, so we know roughly what kind of 3D conversion it is, and then we could also say, well, maybe it's kind of very strong or very mild. So what I've done is today I've come out to the garage, which is a real mess, and my son and I have shot a few shots in 3D, and we're kind of going to use that as the same as the sort of top end conversions, and I'm going to convert them using different processes to show you how they might look in the different grades, so to speak. So for grade 1, these are really the very poor auto conversions, where actually all that has been done is the one image has been duplicated and offset a little bit so that everything appears back in the screen. Now, if you watch the shots, what you'll see is that there is literally no depth. It's just the entire image is back in the screen. So let me play that, and let me also play that alongside the 3D so you can see the difference. Okay, so you've seen that one. Now for level 2. Level 2, I would suggest, is the kind of auto convert that you might get on your TV, or you might get sort of cheap software that does this. Now this can create some shots that can randomly get it right, but generally it's very mild, and it tends to do weird things. I'm not even sure entirely what information it's using subjectively to decide where things go, because often you just get lights that sort of jump out and you just get things in very, very strange positions. So here's one that I've converted using an off-the-shelf piece of software, a cheap piece of software, that you can compare to the 3D. So here we go, have a look at these. Okay, now for level 3. I'm suggesting for level 3, this is probably where the current almost homebrew kind of conversions would sit. The good ones, again in my opinion, would probably be quite mild, because the extreme ones get so many halos around them and you start to get weird blurring and motion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to use the AI tools to do a conversion, and again I'll compare that to the actual 3D and you can have a look and see what you think. So let's take a look at those now. Now level 4 is probably where most films, I would say, sit, where most conversions would sit. And this is a good professional conversion. Now this is quite a wide range in itself, because you might get at the lower end of 4 a conversion that's quite mild, and even might have some shots in 2D. They may have still left them because there was no real need. You know, there's also some decisions to be made by the stereographer who's converting it as to the strength and varying the kind of strengths. So this one is really difficult to simulate. I'm not actually sure. When I'm recording this, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to simulate it at all, because it's just a sort of a reasonably good conversion. So I'll try and do that, and if I can, we'll watch them now. If I can't, we'll move on to sort of level 5. Okay, so that kind of, I did something to kind of, you know, reduce the strength, but it's not quite what I wanted to show. However, the first 3 to me were the important ones to look at. Let's have a look at level 5, which is of course the actual 3D footage, but a really good conversion should be able to match this. So on level 5, what we're talking about is we're talking about really pretty much perfect conversions. So the likes of of Terminator 2. Jaws, I think, was pretty perfect. I think Wizard of Oz was really great. So there's some of these that are absolutely sensational conversions, and that to me is the sort of pinnacle, the level 5 conversion. So the entire point of this, though, is to give us that language to discuss 3D conversions, and we're not talking about films that were made for 3D like the Marvel Universe, where they're all filmed with 3D in mind. We're talking about films, maybe older films that are being converted, or things that they've decided to convert in post. And that's where we have to kind of be able to explain, I think, ourselves clearly. I would say that the AI conversions that I'm working on at the moment, I would say they sit in the sort of 3 range. I mean, I know they're not going to be as good as one that's been done with a team of people that's probably spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I certainly know it's not going to be up there with Terminator 2. It's just not really going to be practical. Anyway, that's my perspective. Hopefully it maybe have some influence. Maybe people will start kind of thinking about that. But that kind of 1 to 5 scale, it really makes it easier for us to communicate and to know what 3D is what. Thank you very much for watching, and back to me. Okay, well, thanks to that, Andrew. Like, somewhat recognise. I do recognise that chap. Anyway, what are we doing next? I know what we're doing next. We're going to watch a short film that has been converted. Now, this film is one of the 48-hour film project films, which this one was the one that came out in 2012 in Edinburgh and actually beat us. We made a short film called The Collection, which we shot natively in 3D, which you may have seen on our Enhanced Dimensions 3D Blu-ray, or you may have seen on our YouTube channel. Either way, this was actually the film that won that year in Edinburgh, and it is really a great film. So I got in touch with the producer, Nick Forrest, who also starred in Crime Squad as one of the gods. See, it's a very kind of small community here in filmmakers. So Nick was the producer. He also starred in it along with Colin Moncrief. And the film is called Coffin Up. It was directed by Clark Dunn and Rian Wright. They have all very kindly allowed me to convert this film and to screen it for you tonight. Just before I would play it, one thing to note was they were going for this kind of old film look, so they added a lot of weird flickering and juddering and all sorts. And it looked great if you wanted to emulate the film, but of course, for 3D conversion, it's one of the worst things we could have. So it actually took quite a while to get this converted, a lot of fiddling. And there's still a couple of shots that maybe aren't 100% there, but you know, I still think it looks great in 3D. So here we go. Let's watch Coffin Up. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. As I said, I think it's a great little film. It would actually be a good advert for the blood donor service. It'd be tremendous. I don't know why. I don't know why they've not done that. I actually have to ask Mr. Forrest why he's not done that. So next up, we've got another film that I shot. And we're talking about the technology behind 2D to 3D conversions. I think we should say that this isn't the only way of doing it. This is me as a After Effects kind of user and a kind of Adobe person. This is one of the routes. There's actually lots and lots of routes. I probably say it, I've recorded this film before, so I'm not exactly sure what I said in it. However, I probably cover anything. If not, do pop in the chat and ask me questions or whatever. But do remember, this isn't really a tutorial. This is kind of giving you a kind of brief overview as to how this might work. So, I think that's it. And let's see how 2D to 3D conversion works. How exactly do we do this crazy magic of turning 2D into 3D? Well, before I go into that, I just wanted to make sure you understand the legalities. No matter what you may read elsewhere, I think if you take anybody else's film, which is their copyright, and you create a derivative work of it, you are breaking the law. So just be careful if you do anything with this information. If you do a conversion, maybe just keep it to yourself. If you stop putting it out on the internet and you do anything with it, you could be liable for for breaking the law, and I don't know what the repercussions of that would be in your location. Obviously, I've chosen to take a public domain film, which again is the route I would suggest you go. Make sure it's public domain, and then you can take that and you can convert it, and then of course you're free to share it because it was already out of copyright, so to speak. Also, before we actually look at the sort of the basic overview, I did tutorials on YouTube over a decade ago, and there's a playlist of these tutorials that you can go and have a look at. Now, these are obviously proper-ish tutorials. They go in some into this in some depth. Today, I don't really want to go into like massive depth of it. I'm not making a tutorial here. I'm just giving you a brief overview on the steps that you need to take to actually go from 2D to having a playable final 3D film. So there's 3 steps in this process that you need to undertake to get from 2D to 3D. And these are, firstly, you need to create a depth map. You need to take that depth map and then deflicker it, because you'll find that the depth map will come up probably pretty flickery. And then finally, you use that deflickered depth map to displace the 2D video footage for one of the eyes. Now, there's a whole multitude of different ways to do this, and you'll find that with all these steps, there's also a multitude of variables. So it's actually difficult to do something and give you exact numbers or exact details, because sometimes it even comes down to shot by shot. You look at it and you make a decision on that. However, let's look at the first step. So the first step is creating a depth map. Now, as an After Effects kind of user, I've used this in my day job for the last 20 years or so. I tend to do everything in After Effects or in Premiere, so I'm an Adobe kind of subscriber, so all my explanation here will be that. There's other tools that will do this, and maybe other tools that will do this better. This is simply the process I've developed within After Effects. The new AI plugin for After Effects, I think it's called Depth Scanner, and Depth Scanner is fantastic in that it will take the heavy weight that used to be kind of creating depth maps. It used to be such a long, arduous manual process that, you know, people just wouldn't really do it unless you were getting kind of paid, because it would take a long time. Even for a single shot, it takes a long time. Really, it's pretty straightforward. You put your footage in a timeline in After Effects, you drop on the plugin, and it's ready to go. It will generate a depth map for a feature film from there. On my computer, it's been taking, I think, well, it depends on the footage, but it's somewhere between, 6 and 12 hours to create a depth map. And that's just on the basic settings. So there's more settings you can do to sort of enhance it, but quite often you'll find one depth map, one setting will do one thing better and another setting will do something else better. So sometimes you might want to make multiple depth maps and look at them and kind of cut them together to get the best one for your shot. However, of course, if you're talking about 12 hours rendering per depth map, you can see how your time very, very quickly gets eaten up. So once you've created that depth map, one thing you'll notice is the depth map can be a bit kind of flickery. As the AI has kind of analyzed the footage, you'll see that it comes up with flicker. I mean, there is other problems with the depth maps. You should know the depth mapping software doesn't always get it right. So apart from the flicker, you can get all sorts of weird anomalies. So if you want a perfect conversion, you have to really go back and fix the depth map. And even then, when I say a perfect conversion, it's not like the sort of cinema quality. It's a kind of a compromise because you don't want to be starting, or certainly I don't want to be starting to have to be doing rotoscoping, cutting out characters, and then in painting where they were standing and stuff like that. That's just an example. So, you know, this is really down to the practicalities of having sufficient time to do this. So anyway, this next step, you want to deflicker that depth map. So I'm using a deflicker kind of plugin that I have for After Effects. I can't even remember which one it is. I think it's by Digital Anarchy, and I use the kind of deflicker old. I think it says deflicker old film kind of deflicker. So I use that on it. That takes an incredible amount of time to render. That takes for a feature film, I've had it do like over 30 hours to render a pass on it, and so it's incredibly time consuming. Anyway, so once it's deflickered, essentially what you're going to do is you're going to bring the deflickered depth map into After Effects with the 2D footage, and then you will use displacement mapping, which you can see in my tutorial from years ago. Use displacement mapping, which will then distort the image based on the depth map. And I would suggest for certainly starting out, just do it on one eye so you can keep your left eye and it won't have any artifacts and any problems, and then use displacement mapping to create the right eye, and then you can actually put those together in your composition in a side-by-side format, and you can play it in stereoscopic player or similar. So it's quite a long process though. So the displacement mapping as well, I mean, I think a render for me's taken, or a feature length film maybe it's taken about 5 or 6 hours. Again, it depends on the hardware you have. I've got kind of decent hardware, but it's starting to get to a certain age now. So, with all that in mind, hopefully that's kind of been clear. Don't want to give you specific numbers and specific settings because each time I do something, it varies. So it's very difficult to be precise. Yeah, I would suggest go back and look at the old tutorials if you want absolute detail. But in essence, what it is create the depth map, kind of deflicker it, and then displace your footage to create the right eye. And that is the sort of basic process. I would suggest if you want to do it, grab some footage, either your own or something that's out of copyright. Get into After Effects if you have it, and yeah, just go through those processes and see what you can kind of come out with. I do hope that's been helpful. I feel it's a little bit vague, but I just don't know what more to do unless I have a specific bit of footage that I share with you and you could work along. But I didn't really want to make a tutorial for this, as I've already done sort of a series of tutorials that kind of basically covers some of the stuff that you can do. So, with that, I'll hand back to myself, wherever it is that I am. Okay, back to you, Andrew. Hi, so I wanted to add a quick addendum to the sequence, because one of the tools I know quite a number of people will use is 3D Combine. Now, as I said, I'm primarily an After Effects kind of Adobe person, so I tend to stick to their tools. However, I downloaded 3D Combine, and I've used it just automatically without learning it. Literally drop the video in, press one button to convert it. So here is the conversion from 3D Combine, which does use AI-generated depth maps. But as I said, I didn't learn it. I just dropped the video in. I thought it'd be good to let people see what they could do with literally no learning, and obviously with a very inexpensive piece of software. So without any further ado, play that video. Well, hopefully that was entertaining and educational and all that stuff. Engaging. Everything starting with an E. The So I'm sitting here just entertaining myself. The next thing we're going to play is actually an excerpt of something that was created for the Crime Squad disc. Now, this is an animated piece, and actually some of the first kind of converted stuff that I worked on was converting animated content to 3D, but we were kind of going for that. I don't know if you'd call it a 2.5D. I mean, it is 3D, but with flat planes. I love this look. It's not for everyone, but I really love this. So I worked with a guy over in America who again ties into Crime Squad. He helped me with the animations for Crime Squad, called Mike Parker, and did a series of animated shorts which were created for Nintendo, and it was released on the Nintendo 3DS TV. So it was a video channel, whatever you would call it. And that was Bear Shark. I think there was 6 or 7 episodes if we include the pilot, which was really, really good fun. But it was quite a challenge to convert because it was this kind of mix of taking 2D planes, which you could sort of position in space, but also there was grounds and walls and all things that were warped. So you had to do sort of conversions on that. Anyway, so this uses the same kind of technology. Some of it, in other words, is converted using depth maps. And then 2D characters and objects are actually placed on that depth map in the right space. Hopefully that makes sense from what you've just watched. So anyway, this is a piece that I created for Crime Squad, or a short section from a piece. So it's a mix of stuff that's done in After Effects, kind of motion graphics, and bits of converted things. So, we'll get to the end of the sentence. So here we go with Jim Bob 2000 interviewing a certain 3D film director. Take it away, Jim Bob.
Hello and welcome to the Jimbot 2000 Cinemania interview show, coming to you from the next dimension. Today I'm speaking to 3D film producer and director Andrew Murchie. Hello Andrew, thanks for doing this interview today. How are you?
I'm very well, Jimbot. Thank you very much for asking. How are you?
I am well too, thank you for asking. As you know, I am a fan of stereoscopic 3D films, so I would like to ask you some questions about 3D films and your experience making them. Okay. Let's start with an easy one. What was the first 3D film you remember seeing?
Well, I think the first 3D film I saw was Creature from the Black Lagoon. I was in a small cinema in Johannesburg with a friend of mine that had just opened. This must have been in the 1980s, I think, either the late 70s or the 80s. And they had, I think it was an anaglyph print of Creature from the Black Lagoon. And I remember seeing it, and I'd always been fascinated with 3D anyway. But like seeing the film, and at the beginning when the sort of the explosion happens and all the stuff came out of screen, I don't think I'd ever seen anything like it. It was kind of crazy. It was just absolutely crazy. I mean, I know that these things came out in polarized, but I'm pretty sure the version I saw was an anaglyph one.
Oh yes, I remember it well. I took Mrs. Jimbot 2000 to the local cinema back in the day to see it. One benefit of having computer vision is I have inbuilt polarizing and color changing filters, so I don't ever need to wear 3D glasses, I just flick a switch.
I wish I could do that.
I know what you mean. I would love to see you do a horror film. I saw a horror film called Amnesia once. I don't remember what it was about though. Ha ha ha. Oh, do please shut me down. There's a nut loose in my system game die. Well, enough of that, I've got a wife bot and kid bots to get back to. Just enough time to say thank you again for doing this interview, Andrew. It is wonderful to talk to such an amazing individual and unbelievable talent. Hang on, didn't you write this script?
Well, I mean, I did write the script, but you're the one reading it, so if you want to change it, you can. No, seriously. Thank you very much for having me, and do send my love to Mrs. Jimbot and the kids, and I hope I can come back on your show another time and talk about something else.
Thank you so much for your time. Until we meet again, farewell.
Okay, Jimbot. Thanks a lot. Bye. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. It was fun to make, a bit silly. It came out of an idea of originally interviewing myself, and I thought, oh, it's just so boring to interview yourself. I mean, I don't want to hear what I've got to say. Actually, this is the weird thing. I know there's a lot of YouTubers that, like, day on day have these hours and hours of just them talking away. I can't imagine why you want to watch me sitting talking for hours. I guess, maybe you find it handy. Back to the classic gag. One other thing I was going to say is if you get peckish during this, I would offer you a sweet, but Freddy appears to have eaten them all, so, this guy. I don't know if this still works, actually. Let's see. He might work. Oh, he's working. Oh, are you working? Oh. I think his batteries must be flat. He does kind of work and do stuff if you go in front and try and take a sweetie. He stops you. Anyway, sorry. See, I'm going off on a tangent. Anyway, let me put Freddy back down. You doing okay, Cheryl? Good. Cheryl's great. Okay, so, right, that was Jim Bob 2000. I explained all that. Now, let's talk about the very exciting kind of prospect of another 3D Blu-ray. And for that, I will hand over to the correspondent in the torture dungeon here at Deep Vision Studios HQ, and he can tell you a little bit more about it. Okay, over to the torture dungeon. Hello everyone, welcome to my creepy torture dungeon. We're filming here today to chat about the launch of our iPop 3D conversion 3D Blu-ray label. It's really quite exciting. We're in a thrilling time now for AI development, and as part of that, I've decided to see how it goes to release a classic old gothic horror film in 3D. The film in question is Nightmare Castle, which is a creepy kind of black and white story that tells of betrayal, love, torture. It's pretty crazy stuff. The iPop 3D label is going to be focused on converting 2D films into 3D. Hopefully we'll get enough interest that we'll be in a position to license some films that I think might actually work really well. At the moment we are concentrating on a couple of public domain films that I particularly liked and thought that would be good. And one of the interesting things about the label is that we are using round about 12 different AI engines to do different things in the process, starting with the likes of an AI tool which upscales low resolution footage up to full HD or even to 4K, but in this case we're just doing HD, through to the depth map conversion, depth map creation that's done using AI, right through to writing press releases and generating draft copy for the product, as well as images and all sorts. It's just an amazing array of different AI tools, and that's really, I think, the angle of this iPop 3D label. So the film itself will be on Kickstarter when you watch this, and it is Nightmare Castle, starring Barbara Steele in a dual role. She's really great in it. Really, she's the sort of queen of scream queens. I think that's what they kind of say about her. So yeah, hopefully this goes well. Do head over to the Kickstarter, which I'll give you details of in a little while. Hopefully this goes well, and then there'll be an opportunity for us to actually make more 3D converted Blu-rays available to you, my 3D audience. Anyway, let's have a little watch of the converted trailer now for Nightmare Castle 3D.
Exciting, morbid, perverse, ambiguous, enigmatic, more fascinating than ever. Barbara Steele in an original and passionate interpretation of the double role of Muriel and Jenny. Jenny, tender, fragile, romantic. Muriel, perfidious, dangerous, sensual. Two beings bound by a single fate and a single sinister secret. Two contrasting individuals, two opposite and distinct personalities. One woman with two faces, or two women with the same face but profoundly different. A fearful doubt, a sinister enigma which becomes an obsessive nightmare in the night of the doomed. The story of a guilty and frenzied passion which lives beyond the borders of death. Victim of the sorcery of a merciless and diabolical sadist.
I'll stay with you with my body and my senses until someone comes and destroys my heart.
Now that damned voice will be silent forever, and then we'll be rid of you once and for all!
No, Stephen, I can't stand it!
In the blood-curdling atmosphere of a thrilling drama in which the forces of evil unleash their sorcery and open the gates of the unknown, reality and nightmare merge, sweeping the possessed lovers into the night of the doomed.
About last night. It wasn't just an hallucination. It was something unreal and mysterious. And when I was in bed, I knew I was with you when I heard the heartbeats. I was awake, and also when you
I know, my dear. You told me. But it can't have been anything but delirium in your mind.
Your wife is not mad, but she runs the risk of becoming so if she continues to live here in this castle.
Is it perhaps the eye of a sick mind which calls up visions that trespass upon the other world? Or are they the fears, the boundless hatred and terror of a monstrous reality that drag a human being to the edge of madness? The night of the doomed. A human drama that goes beyond human life. The Night of the Dune. A film that will take your breath away, that will hold you spellbound, that you will never forget. Produced by Cinematográfica Emici and directed by Alan Grunwald. Soon on this screen.
So there you go. I hope that's whet your appetite. It's pretty creepy and pretty enjoyable kind of 3D experience. I do hope that you'll head over to Kickstarter. I don't have a URL, maybe I'll find it somewhere. Anyway, but if you go to Kickstarter and search for 3D Blu-ray, you'll find it. Or alternatively, it'll be all over social media on the 3D Blu-ray groups, and or on the Deep Vision Studios website, or on Deep Vision Studios Twitter, Facebook, all that, or my own personal one. Anyway, you'll find it, don't you worry. So I hope that's of interest to you, and I hope you can go over to the Kickstarter and will join us in bringing out a first of its kind, an AI-powered 3D Blu-ray. Thank you very much, and back to Andrew. Well, that does sound exciting to me. In all seriousness, hopefully you'll kind of back us. It'd be tremendous to have you on board. The more people we can get involved, the better. Also, spreading the word on social media. It's so tough when you don't have like a huge promotional marketing budget. It's literally day on day, almost having to try and battle for each individual sale. And if we can make this successful, then it kind of opens up the doors to doing more 3D conversions. I'm hoping this is good enough. I know it's not perfect. I don't want to tell anyone, I don't want to lead anyone astray. Believe it's way better than any of the auto conversions. It's not as good as a commercial Hollywood conversion, but I think it sits in that middle ground where it's pretty sweet, and I'm actually happy to watch this the stuff that we're converting here. So I do hope, please support us. Please come onto the Kickstarter tonight and order absolutely everything. One of the things that I meant to mention, which I hopefully have here, is don't forget there's a bundle available that has all 3 of the 3D Blu-rays in it, being Nightmare Castle, the Enhanced Dimensions Blu-ray, and of course, not forgetting Rise and Shine Crime Squad 3D in Super Stereo Vision, no less. Anyway, great. So thank you for watching that. One more thing. Let's see what else. Sorry. What am I doing next? I've converted a trailer. Now, one of the things I was very careful with, and one of the things I've gone on about is the legalities. Now, this trailer, I don't have the rights to do it, but I just thought William Castle, of all people, would probably appreciate this. So I've taken the trailer to 13 Ghosts, and I've converted it. Hopefully this doesn't get us a copyright strike, and hopefully that doesn't mean they're going to pull this sequence. So let's have a little look at the converted trailer for 13 Ghosts.
Listen to William Castle, whom the Saturday Evening Post calls the master of movie horror.
Do you believe in ghosts? I do. And you will too, when you come to this theater and see my picture, 13 Ghosts. No more dictation today. When you see 13 Ghosts, you'll be given a supernatural viewer like this, which will enable you to penetrate for the first time into the spirit world. It'll let you see all 13 of our weird, wonderful, and wildly assorted ghosts.
Now, brace yourself as we take you across the threshold of our haunted mansion, where there's a ghost for everyone in the family. Father, mother, sister, brother. You'll be scared stiff too when you see what they see. 13 ghosts, materializing in ectoplasmic color through the magic of Illusiono, the Ghost Viewer. The ghost of a lion in the basement. The ghost of a murderous cook in the kitchen.
Stop it! Stop it, I say!
The ghost who speaks through the lips of the living.
Death tonight. To one of you.
The evil ghost in the bedroom, fighting to take possession of this beautiful girl. You'll feel all the thrills and chills of seeing one ghost multiplied by the magic number 13.
So I hope you enjoyed that trailer. I think it would be a great film to convert, and I'm sure William Castle would agree. But we'll see. We'll see. I haven't looked into the copyright status on that one, and of course at this stage, I'm only beginning to investigate the options and opportunities to license films to convert to 3D. It's easy enough doing public domain because they're, you know, legally they're in that kind of area that we can use them. But it would be nice to license films. I mean, obviously, I know from the chat on Facebook, I asked a question the other day: what would most people like to see? And you know, the big ones are like Star Wars Episode 4, Matrix. There's a couple others. Speed Racer. I was quite surprised. What else came up repeatedly? I can't remember. There was a couple of others that came up repeatedly. There was some nice ones that I wasn't expecting. That was really interesting. However, of course, you know, these things for a small time filmmaker like myself, it's you know, if Disney won't even release their versions which have been professionally converted of Star Wars, I doubt whether I'm really going to be able to get my hands on it. Of course, I could do a copy for myself, but I wouldn't want to do such a thing. Right, let's move on. So the final thing I'm going to play tonight is this is the only thing that isn't actually converted and doesn't have anything to do with conversions at all. And this is the film I mentioned earlier, which is the collection that we lost to Coffin Up in 2012 at the 48-hour film project here in Edinburgh. I thought I would just play it as a little bit extra. If you haven't seen it already, don't forget it's actually on the Enhanced Dimensions Collected 3D Blu-ray in glorious 1080 digital 3D. It just looks, I love it. There's some shots in this that I really like. Of my short films, this is probably maybe my second favourite. I like Situation Vacant a lot. I think it just worked well. But this one, this sort of montage piece in the woods, just there's some really cool shots. I really liked it. Hopefully you'll like it. Here I am singing my own praises. Anyway, don't forget I am on the chat. I'll be on the chat till the end of this. If you want to pop in and say hi or ask any other questions, just feel free to do so. And don't forget to follow us. You can subscribe to YouTube. I'm not prolific on YouTube these days. Subscribe to YouTube though. There'll be more stuff coming, I'm sure. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, probably less so, and LinkedIn. That's more kind of professional, so I kind of do a little bit less there. Anyway, so let's watch the collection in 3D.
so young. Hello?
Mr. Lamb, I'm sorry, did I startle you?
No, don't worry about it.
So glad you could make it.
Well, it's a fantastic opportunity to work with you,
Shall we get
Professor.
started?
What am I supposed to do with this?
I can't possibly carry everything. Piece of cake.
No, thank you. I read your book. Execution and the Reformation.
That one, oh dear.
Oh, Dr. Langley said
Langley,
it was
that jumped up idiot. Shroud. You surely read Shroud.
No. No, I don't think I've heard of that one.
Pity. Takrakim. The cloths of the dead. You can almost smell the soul.
Well, I'll be sure to look that one up.
Do keep up.
Oh. What exactly are we doing here?
Work to do. Today we complete my collection.
In Brenton Forest.
Brenton Forest, yes. Great sight.
What sort of site?
Hanging tree, my dear boy. In the 1700s, a commune lived in these woods.
I've never heard of it.
I'm sorry. I thought you were a research assistant. You're clearly an expert on executions.
No,
Well, you're questioning my research, so clearly you must be.
Oh, no, I was just interested.
They made the Puritans look like a whores and vicars party. And they weren't shy of enforcing their discipline either. They always burned the clothes afterwards. They believed that traces of the soul remained in the cloth, especially in the case of executions. So rare to find a piece in mint condition.
Are they the only ones?
Not quite, Mr. Lamb. Not quite. It's astounding the ingenuity of our method. Our originality is endless. Gas chambers of Auschwitz, lethal injection rooms in Texas, firing squads, the guillotine. But they all burn the clothes. Aren't you writing this down?
Yes, Professor.
We're close.
What are we looking for?
Tell me, Julian, do you believe in an afterlife?
Do you mean heaven or hell?
Whichever.
No. No, I think this is it. I think we walk about for a bit and then we die. And, I don't believe in ghosts or spirits or anything, if that's what you mean.
They never do.
Okay, well, that's it for tonight. Thank you very much for watching this this live stream. Your time's much appreciated. I hope this was engaging, and I hope this met your expectations. I know it's not a tutorial, and maybe some people were expecting like a tutorial, but 10 o'clock on a Saturday night, you want to do tutorials? Come on. I know it's not 10 o'clock where you are probably, because most of the people who watch this are in America, interestingly. Anyway, that's really it. So from Cheryl, good night, Cheryl. We're not. Well, that's from her, and from my wandering hand, that's a good night from the hand. Good night, good night. And it's a goodbye from me. Don't forget, come on to Kickstarter, back us. Okay, thank you. Good night.